Hello and welcome to the Weighthier Matters. From here in Accra, Ghana to wherever you are across the globe. A very good evening or good morning or afternoon, depending on your timeline. We are happy to have you join us this night from the White Park Event Center Ojataho studio. We are looking at the weightier matters, and we try as much as possible all the time, because possibly this may be your first time of joining the feed, to try to give you a brief as to why we have this broadcast. Weightier matters looks at the things we believe are critical to the growth of the church, and here I mean the body of Christ. What are the issues we think we place undue emphasis on, which may not necessarily be helpful? And what are the things that we need to place lots of focus on them? And to do that, the Bible says that we cannot help but to speak of the things that we have seen and heard. So for a start, we are using our own life experiences. And so for some time, we've been sharing stories and issues that personally have affected us and affected some people. So we're not just talking theory, but we are really looking at practical issues that have affected people, are affecting people, and if care is not taken, may continue to affect people. And so thank you for joining this feed. And as usual, I want to encourage you to share the link right now and invite somebody to join us. So I'll be waiting for you. Just give somebody a call and say, "Hey, folks, let's get to discuss the weightier matters." So we have been, as I've indicated, been looking at my book, Struck Twice. And so for a few episodes, we are looking at the content of the book and issues we think could have been done differently. What are the lessons? What are the issues? And we, for some time, have been dealing with contending with falsehood. Certain things that we think are not true, are false. Certain things that we think were not done right, could have been done right. What are the lessons? What are the issues? We started by saying how certain allegations were made which are false. And we've tried to explain them. We have made the point that the church must have time to investigate. We must take our time. We are building a church. We are not building a political party. We are not in a hurry. We want to save people, we want to get people into the kingdom of God. And so we are very particular about it. And I have made the point that the basis for which, if you do not know, we've been talking about, for which some of us were demoted and eventually dismissed, were so unfair. And we have been trying to learn lessons from. Last week, we dealt with the issue of the false narrative of changing minutes, and I want to believe that quite a number of you may have heard that, oh, this gentleman changed minutes and to cover fact. And I told you last week that I don't even know what minutes was. I mean, what is being referred to as change, and I took you through. So you may want to listen to last week's episode to know the issue about change minutes. I made it very clear that no minutes were changed, and so that was a lie. That was complete falsehood. And whoever did that or pushed that agenda, I last week said should be ashamed of himself. And today, it just occurred to me before I came online. I was just going through the charges that were made. Now, if you are joining again, we've dealt with some issues, so you may not get the link now, but if you read watch previous episodes, it will help you. That's why we encourage you to always listen, because it's a follow-up, and so that will be helpful. And as I just realized, even though I've been reading it often, but I just realized that there were 14 charges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Hey, is it 14 or 15? About 14 charges with one repetition. I mean, the charges were just flowing. And immediately I told Sofmami that, hey, I just realized that the charges were 14. And then she started singing, "So Bonia this year, you drew denara. Jesus no tumdo jiwunkwa Bonia this year swampo. Jesus wo tumde o jiwunkwa. Jesus wo tumdo jiwunkwa." And I just laughed when she started singing that song. How can you survive if there are 14 charges against you? But hey, it is not the number of charges that makes something not true to become true. And I can say with all boldness and confidence that these charges, unfortunately, were untrue. And I've already started dealing with them, and I'll continue to deal with them. So, for instance, the issue about change minutes to cover fat, I've told you that was a complete falsehood. Today, I'm looking at another charge. Now, the reason why I'm going through this is that, you see, some of you are of the view that let this fly. But we also are of the conviction that many people, and maybe you don't know, but I have received calls. People speak with pain. What they say were untrue charges. For how long shall we kill people's ministry, drive people out of the ministry on the foundation of falsehood? The idea, therefore, is to call us all as church leaders to be patient in investigating things. And that today it is me who have decided to take up this issue. I told you the last time that there was a call to take this issue to court. I didn't think it was right. I just didn't think. It doesn't mean it was not right. I just didn't feel doing that. I didn't feel right about it. It doesn't mean it was not right. Now I recall somebody who was also very bitter, young lady, talking about they would have also taken their case to court. You see, today people are being patient. But if we continue and we don't change, people will not hesitate to take up matters for the people of the world to bring us justice. If I was to go to court and to put to those who made the charge that what minute did I change, what, I'm sure they would have been found wanting, and it is just not right. So the other, so that was 14 charges, and I will deal with them. I've just dealt with a few, but today, one of the charge was insider trading. Abba. Insider trading. And as I reflected, I said, how did this come about? Who wrote this charge? But then I recall how it all began. When somebody heard that I was director, director, this one is insider trading. And then all of a sudden, everybody insider trading. And maybe I could have taken it like that if it was just left at that level. But for it to go through the national audit and come to the executive level, and for this to be an official charge against me, that I have engaged in insider trading, therefore warranting a demotion which eventually led to dismissal. And I asked myself, is it that, was this written out of ignorance? Wait, what is even insider trading? I may not be an expert, but at least I know that when we talk of insider trading, we are looking at somebody who is engaged in public shares or securities. And by virtue of his position, he has certain information that are not public, but utilizes that information in the trading of shares and securities. When did I get myself involved in this? Which public company, which shares, which securities was I involved in? And yet it is just written tra. So I ask myself, is it out of ignorance? Is it that maybe whoever wrote it didn't respectfully understand the terminology insider trading? So and I want to assume, I don't want to assume, because unfortunately, as I said, those of you who listened previous episode, I said that the charges were just read. I was not given an opportunity to even respond to the charges. Just after the reading of the charges, the judgment was made. So maybe I could have asked, what specifically do you mean by insider trading, and when did I do that, so that at least we can have that conversation. But I didn't have the opportunity until I was dismissed, and when I requested, this was read. So, but as I said, these things are for educative purposes, not just to share my story, but we learn from it so that tomorrow we don't repeat this. Can you imagine if I had taken, now listen this carefully, can you imagine if I had taken it to court and then I put my own dearest leadership and I confront them that upon what basis did you charge him with insider trading? And you know me, as for me, I will speak from my layman, but what if a professional person is drilling you through this? So those of us who are in leadership, if we don't just throw things around, and I wrote in my book that perhaps somebody somewhere thought that typical Church of Pentecost, once we write, everybody will say, Fama Nyame, just keep quiet, and it flies. But for how long? For how long will we destroy people's, will we attempt, we can't anyway, we can't, but for how long will we attempt to destroy people's ministry and people's ministry on the basis of falsehood, on the basis of misinformation, on the basis of untruth? This is pure injustice. And this is why I want us all to learn lessons from, so that nobody else fall victim to it. We are in a social media world. These charges will be out there. You walk to a place, somebody sees you and says, this guy, hey, this is the gentleman who was dismissed for insider trading. So the person then says, wow, how? Why do we do this to each other? I want to suggest that it's all right to accuse, it's all right to lay charges, but please, let us profess the right charge so that people can know that, yes, I did it and I have suffered the consequences, even though God is still a merciful God. So please, I was not involved in any shares of any public company or securities. I was not in possession of any non-public information of a company or a privileged information which enables me to secure a better deal or undue advantage in trading of a venture. I never involved in any trading. So if you have heard it and you thought that, I recall somebody was saying that, did you let the church know that you were doing something else? So somebody sit out there and thinks that Pastor Aqua was involved in securities and shareholding and he committed some insider trading. I did not. Maybe, as I said, it's out of ignorance, but I don't want to believe that at that level people don't know what is insider trading. I don't want to believe that. But maybe it was a slip of mind, not a slip of tongue. Maybe it was a slip. If it was not a slip, if it was not out of ignorance, then and the people that wrote it knew, then that was mischief. That was pure mischief. You know that this gentleman has not done that, but to be able to achieve your agenda, you write this. So unchristian, so unchristlike, so unfair. And those who do these things must be called out. We cannot just mount the pulpit, mount platforms, and say all kinds of things, but be behind. We do otherwise. It's not right. And we will not allow people to go through this. And I'm saying this because quite a number of people who have been dismissed or demoted, when you speak to them, says that certain things weren't true. Now, it is so difficult for me now to say, where do I stand? Oh, it was true. Oh, no, it was not true. Because I am going through an experience of so many things which were not true. So how will I be able to defend? Because in my own experience, so many things were untrue, but written against me. So if somebody else says, oh, I was dismissed, I was demoted, and the charges were not true, I'm unable to defend. And we shouldn't get to that level. We should get to a point where when people do something, they know they did it. And if they suffer for it. So it is either ignorance or out of mischief, or it was a deliberate falsehood. It was deliberate. It can't be otherwise. So let me be more charitable by thinking that maybe people didn't know what the meaning of insider trading was. So they just wrote it. So what are the lessons therefore? I want to suggest to all of us that because this has to do with people's destinies, people's life, and we are in a social media world, we are in a world where information flies, and people's reputation, people's name, Bible says a name, name is all we have, is better than riches. And so we must live for that. Let us not try to settle personal scores or do anything just to achieve a particular end without walking on the path of justice, mercy, faith, and fairness. I mean, let's just be fair to each other. So I want to believe that people didn't know. I want to go along that line, because the other two, if people really knew, then that would not be right. That would not be Christian, because they know I didn't do that. Today I would want to end here. As I said, I had 14 charges, and I'm not sure what I'm going to finish. I'm reading all the charges, but I may try to deal with some of them to let you know, if you're a leader, that we will be held accountable for every action or decision we all take. And so if today you are in position of authority and you choose to take actions thinking that there are no consequences, even if there are no consequences, God will not be happy. So please, to me and to you and to everyone, let us take time. Let us investigate. Let us use the choice of right words. And if we have nothing to accuse somebody of, and we think that somebody didn't do something we are not happy about, let's just be honest, be plain, and say, Master, I don't like the way you behave. I don't like the way you talk. I don't like this. But let us not couch non-existent charges and use that as a basis for getting at people. Power is transient, and God should be merciful to all of us. So I would want to end here. If you have any question, I will be glad to answer it. As I said, for these few episodes, I'm dealing with my personal issues. I'm taking out from the issues from the structure-wise, and I'm dealing with it. Once I deal with it, we would also let you hear from other people. And as I told you the last time, some people, what has even urged me on to do this more is the pain people pour out when they speak to me. I told you the last time that a very senior person called me, and he was so angry and so bitter to the extent that he used the word, I hate so and so. We shouldn't get there. And to be able to avoid that, that is why I am appealing to all of us to be patient, to be merciful, to be just, so that, yes, people may not be happy with some of our decisions, but let their not being happy be based on decisions that are fair, that are right, that are truthful, not decisions that are false. All right, so if you have any question, I will be glad to take your question right now. If you have any question, don't hesitate. Just let me have it, and then I will see how I'm going to respond to it. Yeah, let's. And somebody is saying that some of this So yes, this is on social media. You see, I think some of these pastors and officers who accuse others falsely are just immature. It's not right. You see, it's just not right. It's not fair. We are Christians. We are not in a competition. Sometimes I look at some of these things and I ask, are we a political party? It is politicians who, for their own political, what word should I use? Strategy, will pounce on you so many charges so that at least they'll even if they don't win, they would have discredited you. But that's not Christianity. That is not what Christians do. So please, those of you watching me and listening to me, don't accuse somebody falsely when you don't have a fact. You see, don't. I don't know whether, or possibly somebody went to tell somebody a lie and the person didn't investigate and believe. But I don't want to believe. I just want to give my people the benefit of the doubt. But let me say it again. When I was in Bolga, I never engaged in any insider trading when it has to do with, by definition of insider trading. I never. And if you are found of accusing your superiors or colleagues or friends, that is unchristian. Let us be able to trust each other and love each other and be there for each other. And when a brother does something wrong, just face him. Don't hide behind legalities and policies and hide behind things to achieve a goal. It is evil, it is unchristian, it is wrong. It doesn't mean that you are evil, no, but that act is evil. It's unchristian. You may be a child of God, but if you allow yourself, you'll be shocked. If you allow hatred and bitterness and yeah. So if anybody has a question, I'll be willing to respond to it. But I just thought that I want all of us to be careful. You cannot just accuse somebody and go scot-free. They will take you on. So let's just be fair. Any question? I'm still waiting. If you have any comment or question on these issues that we are talking about. We are dismantling falsehood with truth. We will not keep quiet for falsehood to overcome. Darkness cannot overshadow light. And once there's a thrown out of light, it will cause people to be careful. I have to be careful because I know what I'm saying. If it's not true, somebody will come. So I would not come and stand on TV and say something I know it's not true. But this is the kind of culture we want to build in the system where people will say and live by the truth because they know if they lie, somebody will take on them. And that should be the culture. People cannot be allowed to just do anything. I want to bring the session to a close. If there are no more questions, unfortunately, I can't see any questions. God willing, I will be dealing with other issues. And as I said, sometimes as I engage more people, I become more convinced that we need to come out. And when people share their stories, so painful, so hurtful, at the right time, we will let them come and to share their stories. But for now, as I've explained to those of you who just joined, I'm dealing with Struck Twice and the issues that are in it. Some of you may have read it. Some of you may not have read it. You've heard bits and pieces of it. You've heard all kinds of information out there. And we are challenging those falsehoods with truth. Get a copy of the Struck Twice if you don't have. Get a copy and read so that you can relate better with us. All right. If there are no issues, we want to bring this session to a close. God bless you. God be with you. God, let the spirit of truth reign. It doesn't matter who is walking on the path of falsehood. Let the light of truth shine through it. And let us all be careful, because we'll be held accountable here on earth and in heaven. God bless you. God keep you. And God be with you. And I cannot end by always saying that I'm sharing my life story with you, so that in case you are grieving, you are broken, you are hurt, a falsehood have been presented on your behalf, an accusation have been laid on you, you have been treated, you think, unfairly, learn from me. I am challenging it, but I'm not bitter, I'm not hurt. No, because I know that I did what has to be done to the glory of God. You may be like me. Even if you did it, you were wrong. That is why Jesus came to die. Find a way of building yourself up. Strengthen yourself in the holy faith. And the essence of these programs is to build each other. May you be built, may you be blessed, may you be empowered. May the Lord strengthen your feeble knees. And may grace be released upon you and your family. And if you are watching me right now or later and you are broken, you are hurt, I release grace into your life to heal your brokenness, to be a healing balm. And if you have given up on Christ or given up on leadership or given up on the church, come back to the Lord. Let your fire be reignited, for truth will always prevail. Even if not on earth, one day when Jesus comes, he will bless you and be with you. God bless you and see you again next week. Bye-bye.